Hello everybody and kalos ήρθατε to a brand new episode. I'm babifly and today we are playing the Shrouded Isle with the Sunken Sins expansion. It's a game created by Kid Fox Games and which is the company responsible for bringing us the Moon Hunters, Shattered Planet and Six Ages. And it's a rather interesting game where we get to play as the leader of a cult living in a secret island as we try to appease our forbidden god and in our quest to bring that god back to the world of the living. It's quite interesting because at the end of each season we'll need to sacrifice someone to our god so as to be able to let the sinful persist on the island and wipe the virtuousness away. Um, Without further ado, let's just step into the game and see how the game plays out and what it's all about. Let's start a brand new game. It's worth mentioning that the game is roguelike, and each and every time the start is going to be different. Our Lord will return in glory to reward the faithful, yet there are sinners in our community. As the high priest, I must select a sinner to sacrifice every season. 5 years until Judgment Day. If we are free from sin, He will save us from this suffering. By sinners, we mean virtuous people, right? This is the start of the season, and as you see here, we've got the map of the island, and we have 6 different places: our cathedral, the place where we reside, and 5 different estates belonging to the 5 different families. The families are always the same ones in name, but different in members. So we have the Kegni, who own farmlands, providing sustenance to the village and hosting book burnings, and who are responsible for maintaining the ignorance in our island among the populace. Next, we've got the Iosefka, who are a hardy lot, excelling at carpentry and masonry, building great monuments to our Lord, and who are responsible for maintaining the religious fervor among us. Next, we've got the Codwell, a family of miners and merchants. Codwells are the wealthiest of the village and try to maintain the discipline. The Effersons are the most devout followers of Chernobog. Chernobog is our prime deity, and I think it's loosely based on a past belief of a Slavic origin. So I think that Chernobog is somehow an already known deity. So feel free to put down in the comment section anything relating to that, just to enlighten us all. So these people are wielding whips and hear confessions, and are responsible for making the sinful repent for their crimes. And the Blackborns control the guardsmen of the village and to interrogate rebels as needed, and they try to maintain the obedience. So down here you also see the 5 meters corresponding to each and every sinful virtue that we try to maintain. So don't be confused. We want to keep these 5 up, but we try to find the virtue, put them to the sword, sacrifice them to Chernobog. So at the beginning, we need to address an issue. Since a letter has arrived to the cathedral, let's go there and see a foul flourishing. Vicar Efferson, so the leader of the Efferson, these ones here, sniffs, complaining that with the snows melted, the village rots. Some manner of filth creeps, making the people sting. So what should we do? In contrary to other games, we don't know exactly what's gonna happen. However, we have a small indication by the text that you see here. Here we encourage discipline. If we choose this, we'll be encouraging penitence. If we choose this, then the vicar will like this. So we want to choose one of the 3 that we want to keep, we want to boost. And in our case, I think that the penitent marker here, the marker for penitence is quite low. So by doing this, we'll be encouraging penitence. Let's try to do this. So bathe these disgusting wretches. You are, you are responsible for that. You order the whole village into the sea to bathe. Milos Efferson hides his body, blushing from toe to crown. So we got +5 penitence. You see here the indication that an extra 5 is going to be added to the score. But Milos Efferson has revealed by that he is kind of chaste, which is a minor virtue. It's supposed to be a virtue, but virtues are not good for us. So we want to eradicate these from our entire populace. However, there are minors and majors. So minor vices and virtues and major vices and virtues. And we want to find the major virtues and eradicate them as soon as possible. However, by eradicating a minor virtue, we're getting a small boost, but that's not the main gist of the game. We want to find the virtuous one and just end them. So Milos Everson is chased. Okay. I can live with that for now. It's quite irresponsible, but I feel I'm okay. So on top of each and every house, you see their disposition from neutral to satisfied, or even I think to elated of some sort. You get to see that whether these houses follow our lead or not. Right now, Iosefka, Efferson, and Blackboard and Cagney are quite satisfied with us, whereas Cadwell are a bit neutral. So let's approach a family and let's see more things about each family. I'm sorry. So I need to be clicking there. So let's go to the Iosefka estate. Here you see the Iosefka matron, and you see their responsibility to maintain the fervor, and here you see the 5 different members. It's worth saying that during each playthrough, throughout each playthrough, these members are going to be heavily randomized, and not only the people and their names, but their traits as well. So no 2 games will ever be the same. So here we get to see Adjudicator Iosefka. This is the 6th person of the family, the matriarch of the family that cannot be questioned or judged by us at all. So here we got Idin Iosefka and their 3 children. If we hover on top of each member, we get to see a small text. And here we got an indication of their traits. Right now, we do know that Idin Iosefka lacks in fervor, and Ladislas is a bit ignorant, and Vasin is a bit penitent, but we're not sure about that. So what can we do? I will skip the renaming villager thing, because if you want to create your own family with different names and whatnot, you're free to do so. And let's rename a villager. Let's change the name of Idin to Babis. That's my actual name, so I'm Babifly, but this is the name that people call me with. So let's say that Babis Iosefka can be, we can inquire more things about that person. So if we want to do so, we just click the person and begin inquiry. As a child, Babis lost his tongue and communicates with signs. So let's ask the adjudicator a bit more about that family member. Babis Iosefka, so do we want to inquire about a virtue or inquire about a vice? Once again, virtues are the things that we want to root out and put an end to. But vices are the things that we want to keep into our society. So I'm going to inquire about a virtue, and this is okay with Iosefka. That's why I won't be losing any favor with them. So let's inquire about a virtue. So we are actually asking Babis about that, and he said that my habits are impeccable. So it looks as if he's a tad disciplined, isn't he? We're not sure though. If we wish, we have 2 more inquiries remaining. Okay, so we had 1 inquiry now. I think that I kind of missed that. And if we wish, we can carry on asking Babis about more things. But this will actually make us lose a bit of a favor with Iosefka. So let's try a different person. Let's try Ladislas, right? Ladislas answers most questions with strange sounds and animal noises. What's wrong with these Iosefka here? Let's inquire him. Okay, let's ask about a virtue right now. Okay, so do you have any candy? We found out that Vladislas is a bit childlike, which in turn will increase the ignorance in our society. So that's a minor virtue. Uh, Wait a minute, did I actually? Yeah, I actually said that, narrated that into the reversed manner. So yeah, so a virtue is a thing that we want to keep. However, it looks like that virtues are actual vices in the game. So I don't want to confuse you anymore about that. But here we have 0 inquiries, and we'll need to actually ask all of the families about their traits and family members. But at the end of each inquiry phase, we need to appoint an advisor from this family because we want to ask the council of 5 different family members in our council. So let's say that I'm okay with Babis, so I'm going to appoint him as my advisor. Okay, I knew you would notice my dedication eventually. Ah, yeah, that's okay, Babis. Don't let anyone know that I actually chose you by accident. So let's ask the Kegni. So the matron Kegni. We have 2 inquiries remaining, and I want to ask Nadijin Kegni. Nadij always looks a bit suspicious and guilty to me, but I'm not sure why. So let's begin the inquiry. Let's ask her about advice, shall we? She's a bit disobedient. We don't like disobedient because it reduces our obedience, right? Yeah. And let's ask someone else then. Let's ask Ivan. Let's ask him about a virtue. So he is obedient, which might be a good thing if we want to. Okay, let's appoint an advisor. Let's appoint Ivan. I enjoy talking with Ivan. He makes me feel at ease. I want Ivan in my council because he'll be increasing our obedience if we heed his advice in the future. So later on you're gonna find out how this council functions. So let's visit the Cadwell. The Cadwell consists of 6 different family members. We're only humble merchants and miners, said Lord Cadwell. He is neutral, that's why the inquiries allowed from me are just 1. So I'm gonna ask Tierney Cadwell, who's very forgiving even of those who deeply wronged her. I'm gonna ask more about her. And the chain of command must be protected. It turns out that she is militaristic, but we know nothing about her vice. So that means that I'm gonna appoint her as a council member. I'm not choosing to go totally random with others because I'm a bit afraid of what I might encounter. And now let's go to the Effersons. Oh, the Eversons have even more people, right? They've got 7. Okay, we know that Milos Everson is chaste, which means that if we use him, he'll be increasing our discipline, which is a tad good thing. So I want to ask about Milos's vice instead. So he's disobedient. I'm not an animal to be bossed around. I totally see what you mean, my friend. However, I don't like the fact that you're disobedient. I'm not particularly worried about that because the other council members enforce the obedience, so I'm okay with that. However, I want to keep ignorance and penitence high because the meter is somehow low on these 2. So let's go with penitence. I'm gonna ask Misha Efferson, who was called the advocate as a child for constant arguing with her parents and siblings. Let's ask her about her virtue. She's honest. You may kill me should I lie to you. Okay, so which is honest, which means that it's a minor virtue. She just gives us a +5 if we ask her, if we heed her advice. However, I'm gonna appoint Milos because I kind of know the rest of his traits, but I don't know the full extent of his vice. But I'm not afraid. Oh, the Blackborn have even more. So 8. Always more work to be done, says Inquisitor Blackborn. And Since that's the case, I'm gonna ask Vasilisa Blackboard, who was trying to commit suicide in the past, but it's been some years since the last incident. So Vasilisa, I want to know more about your vice. You're impulsive. Let's go for a walk, she said. Ah, poor child. It's worth noting that if we want to, so in each of our inquiries, there are two different steps when it comes to a virtue and to a vice, discovering virtue or a vice. So the first question costs 0. However, if we have found an indication as of what that virtue or vice might be, it costs 3. However, if we manage to keep on asking the same person again on the very same category, we'll be paying double that thing. So if I want to ask more, well, now her vice has been revealed. I'm okay with that. So I want to ask somebody else, Rada Blackboard. Rada once disagreed with me in public. The nerve. Okay, so let's ask Rada about her vice. So since we've asked the Blackboard about someone's vice, we'll need to pay double the price. I'm not willing to go there because I want the Blackboard to be satisfied with me, and right now they are satisfied. But see how the Efferson felt to my I felt to the Efferson's disposition. So I don't want to go there. So I want to ask, probably, you know what, Preben Blackboard. I'm gonna ask him about his virtue. Okay, it looks like he's disciplined, which is okay, I guess. That's why I'm gonna appoint him as my advisor. So Preben is famous in the village for inventing a new form of meditation. All of these texts are a good indicator as of what traits these people might have, and we definitely need to pay close notice to all of them. So let the season begin. We have 5 years remaining, and now it's spring. We need to sacrifice all of the people that lower all these 5 indicators before our God comes alive, so wakes up. So let's begin the season. Okay, in March, we need to select to hit the advice of 1 to 3 advisors. So all these advisors will offer something depending on the family they come from. So the Kegni will always suggest that we burn the books. The Iosefka will always say to build a monument, and so on and so forth. However, if I choose to heed someone's advice, then not only will I implement this, but it will greatly influence both the standing of my family and the traits found here. If should we choose to do that, should I choose to follow the Iosefka advice, then the Iosefka will offer a boost in fervor because that's where they are good at, and that character will also influence the meters by their traits. However, I don't know anything about them right now, so I know that Babis is somewhat disciplined and somewhat lacks in fervor, but I don't know for sure what's going on. So if I elect to do that, then I know that I'll be increasing fervor by 10 because that's what the ISF are good at, building monuments. And I'm gonna get some other things. I'm gonna be affected differently, but I don't know how. However, if I choose more advisors, then this effect uh, will lower in intensity, which is a good thing, but it won't give me a direct indication as of what traits that person has, because I'll be choosing 3 different people. So 3 different people, 3 different family effects, plus 2, 4, 6 different traits. So everything goes, everything can change. However, I do know that Milos is chaste and Tierney is militaristic. So the game shows me here that I'll be getting a small boost to fervor, penitence, and obedience because from all these that I explained about. But We don't know how low the disobedience will fall and the fervor will fall. So let's try to do that. Let's try to employ these three, and let's see if so the Everson are gonna are gonna get satisfied from neutral. Okay, shall I choose so satisfied neutral? What about the Kegni? So the Kegni are really low, but it's gonna be quite random. I don't mind right now. Let's go. Let's see. So Ivan scoured the town and found one old world book to burn in ritual fire. Ivan follows your every suggestion, but Ivan is rumored to be lacking in fervor. You notice Ivan's ceremonies aren't as well attended as others. Did you notice how? Did you notice a small motion backwards in that gauge here? It means that he has a small, a minor vice in lacking in fervor. So I'm not troubled by that. If it was a massive um, a massive fall, then I would have been somewhat troubled by that. So I can now ask him about his own nature. If I do so, I'll be lowering my disposition with that family. But the question is, since I am at 19, do I need to lower that much? I don't think so. I'm gonna keep it as is. We want to keep these families appeased in case otherwise they might actually revolt against us. Tyranny confiscated some goods. She's virtuous, she's obedient, and she's quite unrepentant herself. Okay, how much unrepentant? So we know that the Cadwell are neutral. They are 0 with us. I don't want to I don't want to fall further down, so I'm gonna proceed to the next result. So Milos dutifully whipped the sinful. He shamed the couple holding hands, and he has a vice here. The code of laws so he revises the code of laws with a new, more confusing interpretation. So he's somewhat liberal in the interpreting of the law. So I'm gonna ask him directly. He has been scarred. You can't break me more than I'm already broken. He has a minor vice. He's scarred. Okay. Next result. The reaction of each house leader depends on the people that I actually chose. So the Kegni were satisfied, Cadwell as well, and the Efferson too. Okay, so next month goes. I will do that 3 times before the start of the next season. So now that I know how things go, I really want to ask the Efferson to assist me because I really want penitence to be a bit up. They're gonna be satisfied. The rest of the houses are not gonna like it, and I'm gonna get a boost in penitence and discipline. However, there's gonna be some sort of lowering in obedience. That's why I want an obedient person to take care of that. I don't want Tierney to do that because she'll be lowering my penitence, and I'm gonna go with Ivan Kegny. The Kegny are gonna be satisfied, and should I go to someone else possibly to the Iosefka? Let's try this without Tierney now. So Ivan didn't do much, and we see that fervor fell a bit because of him. The Kegni are satisfied with me, and I really want to ask about his vice. He's a hermit. Oh, he can actually lower our fervor by 20 because he doesn't have much fervor, right? So next result. Bobby urged the laborers in carvings and sanding, and the small shrine to our god was crafted. What happened here? Bobby's lowered our fervor quite much, so I want to ask him more about that. You're a cowardly lot. These are the things that we want to eradicate, people. So we want that coward to be out as soon as possible. How to do that? We will choose a council member and sacrifice them to Chernobyl, our god. Okay, Milos dutifully whipped the sinful, and there was a small thing, so -3 obedience. So Milos just strikes when threatened with punishment. He is a scarred person. Should I ask? Oh, I know everything about Milos actually, so next result. Okay, so I know that Babis from the Iosefka will need to definitely go out as soon as possible. Your Excellency, the spirits tell me you are cursed to misfortune, but do not despair. Show favor to House Efferson to escape this doom, a concerned citizen. So House Efferson here, the the ones responsible to make sinfuls repent. Show public favor to House Efferson. They will like this. If we demand from House Efferson to reveal who sent the letter, something unpredictable is going to happen. However, I'm going to tolerate that and allow them to think that I have been swayed. So show public favor to the Efferson. You raise up the sons and daughters of House Efferson as paragons. You feel more at ease, and you got their approval. Nothing else happened. Nothing bad or something. So the final month of spring begins, and we're definitely not trusting Babis anymore. So it's actually easy to trust Milos Efferson because by himself being scarred, he'll be lowering the obedience not for too much. So I think that's the maximum that we can get, a -4. So if we trust the Cadwells, because we really want them to be satisfied, we're gonna have all three families satisfied. Shall I try Milos as well? No, because the Cadwells will not be satisfied enough. So you know what? I'm gonna go that way, and hopefully tyranny will not lower our penitence much. Let's see. Wow! Wow! Did you see that happening? When asked about sins, Turney shrugs and changes the subject. So let's inquire here and ask the Cadwells about Turney's vice. She's a narcissist. She has a minor vice though, right? Damn you, Turney! Next turn. So as you may have found out, we don't want to keep that low, because if it's lower from the gauge here, then there is a risk that by not having such a penitent society, things will gonna go wrong. So let's finish the results. The season end draws near. A sacrifice must be made to protect the village. The gathering convenes. Who will be the sacrifice this season? Do you know that we have 5 people from the different families. These are the 5 advisors that we chose, and you see their characteristics down here. However, if we choose one, then the entire society is going to be affected. So if we choose Babis, for example, since he has an uncertain virtue, villagers who trust Babis' reputation will feel conflicted and lose discipline. They will lose his trait. Depending on the trait that he has here, they will lose that much of a discipline. Hence, the discipline will fall. Since he has a major vice, the villager will be inspired to a greater fervor because you will be killing the cowardly individual, through the purging of the sinner. And House Iosefka will grudgingly submit to my decision because they understand that all sinners must be purged. If I choose to do that, then these things are going to happen. However, if I spare him and choose somebody else, for example, if I choose Tierney, you see that the villagers will be disturbed by Tierney's death and lose obedience because she is that militaristic. The sacrifice will encourage penitence because we'll be eradicating a narcissist person that might influence us with a -20. of maximum, right? And Cadwell will be outraged since Turney's transgressions are forgivable because she has a minor vice and not a major one. And they're gonna turn from satisfied to dissatisfied immediately. However, we're gonna be getting the penitence that we need. But this is not the case here. I don't want to go that far with the Cadwell, so I'm gonna sacrifice Babis Iosefka to our massive deity of Chernobog. Sacrifice him and let it be known that no heathens will be allowed to have such a low fervor. So we see here gathering at the summit, sacrificing Babis to Chernobog under a blood red moon. Well, the moon is quite white, however, the rivers run crimson by Babis's blood. So through sacrifice thy will be done. We sacrifice the life of Babis in the name of Chernobog and the good of our people. Our condolences to House Iosefka. It was a just sacrifice, so House Iosefka solemnly mourns Babis. We lost approval, and we gained approval by the other houses. The villagers praised Chernobog for ridding their community of a blighted soul, and that's why we got plus 15 in fervor and minus 10 in discipline, again because of Babis's traits. We accept that begrudgingly as well. But the night before the new season, a whisper caresses your dreams. My faithful servant, I await your devotion. Encourage obedience, unfaltering spirit of law and order. The thieving one, give her to me. And the new season begins. The nights are pale and short-lived. There are fewer and fewer confessions made. I must encourage penitence by the end of this season. If I cannot make penitence rise beyond this bar here, then I'm gonna lose. However, I need to keep in mind that I need to encourage obedience. That's why the bar actually teleported from here to there. And I need to find the thieving one. The thieving one should be a person that a person who has the thieving trait. If I scan here quite swiftly, I think it's the kleptomaniac, right? So the kleptomaniac hinders obedience, so I need to find somebody who's a kleptomaniac. So there is one among us who's kleptomaniac, and I can't bear that thing. However, I think I'll be doing that on the next episode because I'll be wrapping up. I really enjoy this run through in the game. So if you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to know more about the videos, feel free to click the bell button so as to be getting a brand new notification each time a video comes out. Thank you very much for your time, people, and see you next time.